the Atlanta Hawks, a team which had so much promise going into this season and the next season. Trae Young, Cam Reddish, Clint Capella, John Collins, Hunter, a lot of players, a lot of young players with talent, enough cap space to make some noise in a very busy off-season next season. But they've spent a lot of money this season and things have started to go wrong. We need to talk about the Hawks. As always, I'm joined with Owen. Hi, Owen.
Hello.
Didn't wave. There you go. There's the wave.
That's
So, like we've spoke a lot about Atlanta, and we've shown a lot of love to Atlanta. Trae
Yeah.
Young, like I said, like the players I named, so much young talent, and it's been cooking for a few years now. I know they finished like 14th last season, but a few years where these players are getting better, and you could see them, especially with next season where they've got the cap space, a lot of good free agents in the pool to pick from. They could have made some noise, but that's kind of all gone wrong. But why, Owen? What's been going on?
Well, they've basically just rushed their process. They should have waited until next year at least, and spend this upcoming season just nurturing their young players, because Cam isn't ready to contribute on a winning team yet. Herter, Hunter, none of them are quite ready yet, but they've blown all of their money on a 32-year-old power forward and a shooting guard whose career average is 13 points. That's who they've spent all their money on. It's disappointing. They're going to be a better team. Like, don't get me wrong, they're going to make the playoffs, but they've severely limited their potential.
Yeah, well, I've heard in recent days that Gallinari will be coming off the bench this season, and John Collins will be the starting power forward. But the money they spent on Gallinari, do you have the number?
20 million for 3 years.
Yeah, 3
Big money.
years for a 31-year-old power forward who, yeah, I mean, being an OKC fan, I've seen a lot of Gallinari over this past season. Very good shooter. Him and Trae will be a lovely team. Like that it's going to be very nice. But to spend the money they did spend on him, and then like the Gallinari, it's a bit too much money. But the Bogdan deal, that money's kind of ridiculous for the player he is. I've never really been a massive fan. I'm not a massive fan of like that catch and shoot type player. I think if you're going to be a catch and shoot, like 3-and-D type player, you have to have the defense I'm going to say like the Danny Greens, because Danny Green was good. He might not be good now, but he was good.
Yeah, he's not as good thing.
Like the Imam Shumperts of the league. But yeah, so you look at Bogdan.
Yeah.
You look at Bogdan. He doesn't have the defense to back up his what some people would say elite scoring. But like you said, his career high points is 13. So he's not even really shown that he's got that elite scoring over a season.
Yeah, well, last year it was 15 points per game, but over his career it's 13. But the way people talk about Bogdan is if he's like the second coming of Klay Thompson. Like, he's not worth the money. And also, they added a trade kicker in his deal where if they trade him, his money goes up. So it's basically impossible to trade him. So they're locked into this money. And it's not like he's a young player who's improving. 28. He's 28 years old. So they're paying all this money for a bang average player who's getting quite old. It makes no sense. Like, the Gallinari deal was a bit confusing, but the Bogdan one was just, it was dumb. Like, it wasn't very smart. They're going back to the Gallinari deal. He's a power forward. He's 6'10". He's a power forward. Their franchise cornerstone, John Collins. Collins is also a power forward. So, like, what are they going to do there? Like, are they going to play Gallinari at small forward? That's not going to work because he's too big and too slow to guard them. So it's kind of weird. Are they going to put Collins at the center? But why would they do that when they've got Capella and Okongwu? Like, it's such a big cluster. Like, I don't want to say this, but it kind of reminds me of Philly last year when they signed Al Horford. It was a good player and a good signing, but a big overpay, but it didn't fit. And this is kind of similar. Probably not as bad, but it's a similar situation.
Yeah, well, like I said a bit earlier, I saw something that said Gallinari would be coming off the bench, which I mean, as like a bench player, pretty good. But the problem I have with that is he's merely a catch and shoot like power forward. He's not gonna like get the ball and like create his own shot off a dribble. He'd like post up and get a fadeaway. But I feel like he should be better in a starting five rather than coming off the bench.
And
But
do you pay 20 million a season for a bench player?
no, again, I wouldn't have given him that
Too much.
money, to be honest. I was shocked it was a 3-year deal. It would have made a bit of sense to do like a 2-year deal and like potentially trade the expiring contract next season for cap space. But it started brightly because like they drafted Okongwu. I mean, it wasn't where we wanted him to go to because obviously Clint Capella exists. But I was gonna say if you're gonna learn off somebody, it'd be good. But I've seen Clint Capella play. I'd learn from somebody else.
But then again, having a Kong with it now, it does give them the freedom to trade Capella, which would free up quite a bit of money. So, maybe they can do something next off season. But yeah, at the moment they're fully capped out. They've got no money. Like next off season, they've literally got nothing. And they still have to extend John Collins, which if they do that, they will be about 30 million under the cap. So this is their roster. They're locked in with this team. And like this is never going to win a championship. They're consistently probably going to be maybe a 5th or 6th seed. Like, and that's it. That's kind of disappointing. Because you look at the Mavericks with Luka, they're making all the right moves. They've surrounded him with defense, with the right co-star in Porzingis, and then the Hawks have just done this. They've created a mess. Like, yeah, it's just disappointing. I said to you earlier, I'm just so like I'm gutted from because they could have been so much better. But I guess they're going to be happy with, winning 45 games a season.
Yeah, they'll become a team like Indiana, just kind of there.
Yeah.
But about Capella, like you said, he's been there for a while, but he's never actually played a game for them. So I feel like they're not going to trade him like before the season. They'll probably play 20 games, and if they kind of feel like he's not worth keeping around, they might trade him then.
I think they'll wait till next off season.
Yeah, but it also depends on like if Capella kind of plays like poor and Okongwu plays good and they're impressed, you'd probably see them go, all right, we'll just get rid of Capella and just give Okongwu starting minutes. But it was also promising because they signed Rondo and Chris Dunn.
Yeah, I like those signings.
And I was like thinking that's like 2 really good signings because you look at Atlanta and like what they've been for the past 2 years when Trey's been there. Trey doesn't play defense, and like the defense of the team's not really been there. And you've got 2 of the best defensive point guards in the league there. And what I remember, I was watching a Chicago game from this season, or last season, a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching Chris Dunn, and I was thinking he like plays like Rondo, but if Rondo was like super erratic and like would make a great pass, but then would throw it into the stand the next play, or would make a great, he would steal the ball, he'd make a great steal, and then throw the ball into the crowd, or like miss a wide open layup. I was like, he literally has the mold where he could be a Rondo-like player, but he maybe needs Rondo to teach him how to be Rondo. Now he's got that. I think Chris Dunn, I like the Chris Dunn Rondo tree. Like, I'd like it'd be good to see like both of them play, like Rondo and Trey to play together, Dunn and Trey to play together. Like,
well, yeah, they need defense because they were awful. They were awful defensively last year. So Rondo and Dunn are great signings, but then, as we just said 10 seconds ago, they need defense. So why did they spend all of their cap on Bogdanovic and Gallinari, who can't defend? It's just so like, I'm just when they made those signings, I was so deflated.
Yeah, it went from like oh, they got a Okongwu, they got Rondo, they got Chris Dunn, to like, oh, they signed Gallinari, oh, that's a lot of money, oh, they've signed Bogdan. Like, the more and more I've watched basketball, the more and more I like love and want, like when I'm thinking about building my own roster, I'm thinking I want those defensive players in there. Like just seeing teams waste money on these like offensive guys, I'm just like, don't do it.
And it's also gutting because there's going to be less minutes available for Reddish and Hunter and Kevin Huerter. Like, these are young players who need minutes to get better, and now they're not going to get those minutes because of Bogdanovic and Gallinari. So, like, is that going to stunt their growth? Like,
Probably.
should Cam just say, just send me to a team where I'm going to play? Like, to be fair, the small forward position, if Gallinari does come off the bench, then the small forward spot is open. And who starts there? I mean, they need defense, so probably DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah,
And then Cam off the bench.
you'd assume they would go Trey, Bogdan, Hunter, Collins, Capella.
Mm.
But thinking about the point guards they have, I'm obviously having a season of 3-point guards closing the game for OKC. I can just see Chris Dunn playing like most improved player form with Dunn and Trey all closing out a game. I'm like, oh god, it looks great. It looks great. But yeah, the team.
Like last year when Trey was out of the game, the Hawks offense they couldn't do anything. Like their offense consisted of like standing around for like 22 seconds and then just throwing that awful shot. But now they've got Rondo, who's probably one of the best backup point guards in the league. So they should at least be able to be like a good offense for the full 48 minutes now. So that's an improvement in itself.
Yeah, they made great signings for the point guard position. But the rest of it was kind of like, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it, Atlanta? What's going through your mind? So we've kind of really put down Atlanta there, like they've got no chance of being as good as they could have been. But obviously, back-to-back seasons are finishing very low down. Well, what do you feel like what are they going to do this season?
It's going to be a big improvement for sure. Like I think I'd be comfortable enough with saying they're all locked for the playoffs. I think they could be the 6th seed, maybe 7th. So they're going to be much better than last year, for sure.
Yeah, you've got third-year Trey, most improved player Chris Dunn, championship winning Rondo, 3-point maker Gallinari. John Collins is good. Get rid of Clint Capella. But no, yeah, just going through their team. They should definitely very easily make the playoffs if they're smart about it.
So come playoff basketball, who's guarding the best players? Like who's going to be guarding Giannis or Ben Simmons or Jimmy Butler or Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant? Like who's their defender?
Well, it was cute for you. It was cute of you putting Kyrie Irving in that best player category.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
But I said they'd make the playoffs. I didn't say they'd make it past the first round.
The only way they make it past the first round is if Trey does like
Steph Curry.
madness and does like 35 and 10. Like that's the only way.
But even then, depends who they come up against. Depends where in the playoffs they finish.
But like if they play against the Nets, like Kevin Durant's just gonna have the ball, switch Trey onto him and just score.
Yeah,
every time.
It's curtains.
Is
there a team in the East which is a favourable matchup for them then?
What?
Is there a team in the East which you'd say they'd probably beat in the first round if they matched up?
Yeah, maybe Indiana, but I don't know how they play each other because they're probably both going to be like the 7th and 8th seed.
Yeah.
Like maybe Toronto, but nah.
But Toronto's got that playoff grit though, haven't they? They'll just see themselves through it.
Yeah, Indiana's the only one.
Yeah, so enjoy the first round. No, they won't be Orlando. Enjoy the first round knockout, Atlanta. Have a good time. But have a word with the front office. Have a word. You could have had like Giannis, Kawhi on your team, but you got Gallinari and Bogdanovic.
They probably had a legit chance of getting Giannis as well.
Yeah, probably they'd been up there because like Atlanta or Golden State. I can still see him going Golden State.
I don't know how they would do it with the money, but
they'd find a way. This is Golden State we're talking about. They'll definitely find a way.
Yeah.
But I like Miami. I just don't think it would work. Toronto, maybe. Cheeky deal with Siakam.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. But again, I can also see him signing a new contract. Just staying.
Yeah, if I had to bet, I'd say he's going to stay.
Yeah, stay or Golden State. But yeah, I'm not talking about Giannis. We're talking about Atlanta and how they've ruined everything.
Bit dramatic.
Thanks, Atlanta. The kids are crying. Thanks for watching to our lovely opinions about basketball. That was a great chat about the Atlanta Hawks. If you disagree with us, comment. The comments are lovely. I love when people comment saying that we have no idea what we're talking about. Speaking to you, Cavs fans. Big fan. I love the Cavs. Disband the organization. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheerio.